we're there.
Look at all those dead buffalo. A crying shame.
Elko, Nevada, October 1st, 1868. An outlaw has killed a herd of buffalo, and the Native Americans are blaming our railroad. Your mission? Make peace with the Indians. Return to this page whenever you need help. Click on Exit to start your mission. Good luck.
It's a teenage squaw, and she's hurt. Every young teenager performs a vigil as part of their journey into adulthood. This girl's on her spirit mission, but she hurt her ankle, and now she wants to know if I can help her finish the mission. It's a feather. If I touch the right animals with this feather, I'll discover the everlasting standing woman and the little man spirit. I'm looking for two spirits altogether. A standing buffalo. It's the everlasting standing woman. She says take this pine cone and use it to find the tree spirit. A rock. Voila! Now I can cross the creek. Trees! It's the tree spirit. He wants me to take this blue orb and give it to the squaw. It represents the bright blue sky and has healing powers. A water container. Alrighty, filled to the brim. A crow! It's the little man spirit. A prairie flower, and he wants me to take it to the girl. It'll tell her the name of her firstborn son. The squaw! It worked! The blue orb healed the girl! Now she knows her firstborn son will be named Prairie Flower. We did it! We helped her on her spirit mission. Now she's off to the village. She says follow her. She'll introduce us to her father, the chief. The chief! He says he's grateful I helped his daughter. He is willing to offer forgiveness if I can show that I know how important the buffalo is to his people. He wants me to find 3 items made from buffalo and place them in the middle of the sacred buffalo rocks. A torch! A brave! Pemmican is dried buffalo meat. I can have some if I bring him some water first. He's thirsty. A brave! He's grateful for the water. Says I can pluck some pemmican off the rack if I want some. I should drop this by the sacred buffalo rocks. It's dark in there. Can't see it. In I go. Anything useful in here? A deerskin blanket. Add it. A mother and child. She's grateful for the deerskin blanket. Here's a baby rattle made from buffalo hide and bone. Let's... In I go. Anything useful in here? Rope. Add it to the inventory. A brave. He says he's willing to trade his buffalo hide moccasins for some rope. A brave. Awesome. He traded the moccasins for the rope. Better get these to the sacred buffalo rocks. Two more items, and these rocks will sing. The chief says we're almost done. Only one more buffalo item to find. That's the last item. Listen, the rocks are singing. It worked. The sacred buffalo rocks worked. The buffalo have returned. The chief has forgiven the railroad. Peace at last.
Draggle-tailed gutter snipe! My pencil just broke. Back near Truckee, it looks like two outlaws are hiding out. John Wesley Hardin and Jesse James. Time to take them in for questioning. We'll get Hardin and James with a little help from the Dream Team. So, John Wesley Hardin and Jesse James are hiding out together in the train yard. Your mission? Catch Hardin and James before they do further harm to our railroad.
An engineer! This man's a hero. He discovered James and Hardin hiding out in one of the trains. You know what he did? He locked them in there. The train car we're looking for is northwest of the well. Outlaw, where you be? Brats, the door's locked. I'll need to find the combination. Where's that engineer? Why didn't he say so in the first place? The combination is A, B, and then an odd number. Outlaw, where you be? Hardin? James? 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 Show your faces, now! All right, you two. Your outlaw days are numbered.
scraggle-tailed gutter snipe!
Welcome back. Who? A question that's tough as nails. Answer my question, Hardin. And answer it now. Who's your boss?
Can I reach a farm by telegraph? I demand my right to send one free telegram.
Where, Dodgy? A question that's tough as nails. I hope you like your nice cold cell, John Wesley Hardin. You're going to grow old in there if you don't tell me where your boss lives.
I can't hear your threats. There's cotton in my ears. Cotton they grow in my boss's neck of the woods.
What? Let's pay attention, Hardin. What does your boss look like?
He has something I'd love to give you. A big fat injury.
It's true. I'll put it in the journal. How? Let's be tough as nails and see if that works. Explain how your boss makes a living, or it will be more bread and water for a week.
Shows how much you know. I like bread and water.
Drats, not a clue. How? Let's catch him off guard with a loco question. How mean are you anyway, Hardin?
I'm steaming mad and mean to boot. Speaking of steam, my boss travels by steamboat for his work.
This was false.
Helium.
What a useful liar. I'll mark. Funny voice you have. 2. Let's see if being polite works. Mr. James, would you kindly tell me who your boss is?
Well, he says, yes, sir, no, sir, like a soldier.
Where? A dodgy clue. Useless. Polite. Mr. James, you can tell me where the mastermind lives. Now can't you?
I can indeedy. He's a Yankee.
What? Polite. You seem like a reasonable person, Jesse. Please tell me what your boss looks like.
Put it this way, miss. He uses a razor every day.
True. I'll mark it in the journal. How? Let's see if being polite works. Interested in better grub, Mr. James? I can make that happen. I can make that happen. I can make that happen. Now, tell me, how does your boss earn a living?
He's a chef. He cooks up all sorts of devious plots.
False, huh? I'll make a record of it. Let's see who's full of hot air.
Turn it off! Turn the helium off!
Funny voice you have. Hi, outlaws. I'm a human being. What are you?
Nice going. We're almost there. All we have to do is build a promontory, and we won. Good building. Good. Start building from Elko, Nevada. And build all the way to Promontory, Utah, the end of the line. That's 240 miles away. Let's see how much money we have. $3,840,000. Not bad at all. Let's get building. Elko to Promontory. Your mission? Make it through the desert alive. The desert, home of snakes, scorpions, and sand. Or is it all mirage?
It usually rains less than 10 inches per year in the desert, and that's what keeps the plant life down to a minimum. With few plants around to grab onto the earth with their roots, the wind blows the sand into large dunes like these.
You show me a place that gets less than 10 inches of rain a year, and I'll show you a desert.
Not all deserts are hot, you know. Cold deserts, which are so icy that they never get any rain, cover a sixth of the Earth's surface. Hot deserts like this one cover a fifth.
You can see some funny-looking rocks round here. The wind blows the sand at them so hard, they change shape.
It usually rains.
Elko. Building starts from this boomtown on a cold February 8th, 1869. 240 miles to Promontory, and you're done. Elko is now the center of all gold production in the country. It's also fast becoming the center for Nevada's huge range livestock empire. Powerful and colorful cattle ranchers rule over the Nevada range like kings.
This This Civil War veteran's looking for a homestead. After the war, the government couldn't pay all the soldiers, so they gave them land in the West instead of money. By next year, the population will climb to 2,000.
Ranches. This isn't the best route east, but the ranchers will make it worth your while to have the train go through these parts. The Dream Team has scoped out the situation. Better.
We'll be building 2 bridges if we head up here, but I say it's worth it. Think of the money we'll make moving those cows.
Forget about it. If they want to ship their cattle, they can bring them to us. No sense changing the route so some ranchers don't have to get their boots dusty.
In these parts, whatever the ranchers say goes. Might be a good idea to keep them happy.
These ranchers are rounding up their cattle. They want us to build the railroad on their side of the Humboldt so they can have easy access to the trains.
The Humboldt River is the only river in the whole area to run east-west.
It has been estimated that of the 250,000 people who went west between 1840 and 1860, more than 200,000 of them came along the Humboldt River. It was the greatest peacetime emigration in history.
Great Salt Lake Desert. There's a rumor that these 80 miles of waterless salt flats can be successfully crossed. Sounds good, but my mom always told me not to listen to rumors.
Maybe we should find an easier way, one with a saloon, maybe a few beds?
I ain't afraid of some big pile of salt. We'll make it.
Dry lake bed. This dry lake has some rushes growing at its north end. Rushes are tall grass-like plants that often have hollow stems. They grow in places where there's plenty of water, at least for part of the year. The Shoshone use these rushes to make baskets and mats.
Rushes growing in a dry lake bed? There must be water in this lake bed sometime, or they wouldn't be here.
A dry lake? Now I've seen everything. What's next? A flat mountain?
Being underwater made the ground here nice and flat. So easy to build, I reckon you just throw a few rails on the ground and the train will build itself.
I saw them rushes at the north end of the lake bed. Must be water here sometime. Rushes don't grow on just hot air and sand.
You'll meet a Shoshone scout who knows no English. Do you want to hire him? He can help us through this region, but we'll have to use sign language to communicate with him. Sarah can help. Before Europeans came to America, about 60,000 Shoshone lived here. That's all changing now.
Here's a bit of sign language to help you out. The Shoshone hunt and gather in the summer and camp out by water holes during the dry winters. In the spring and fall, the family groups get together for religious ceremonies.
You take your fists and you move them back and forth a few times. That'll send the right message.
You put your hand out, palm down. Then you swing it to the right and turn it over so your palm's facing up. I reckon that's the sign to use.
You signed to the guide that you did not want to hire him as a scout. Humboldt Wells, the most famous springs on the California Emigrant Trail. You save on water and collect $100,000. Between 1845 and 1870, hundreds of wagons each year stopped here on the way through the Humboldt Valley. You can see wagon wheel tracks winding down to the springs from the... Nice go! Building! Good! Start Elko to Promontory. You'll meet a Shoshone scout who knows no English. You signed to the guy that you wanted to hire him as a scout. What do you offer him? Sarah has a Shoshone phrase book if you need it.
Here are some Shoshone words I've learned. Hope they help. I learned them when I met some women gathering firewood and tinder. That's awful hard.
Doesn't matter where you are, a little ohapui will get you a long way.
This is the only Shoshone I know, but it's enough. Tiv Hakwa. It's the magic word.
I'm telling you, if we become their Tatakanti, we'll have ourselves a guide.
The Shoshone agree to become your trading partners. What do you want to trade?
You slide your right hand across your left palm a few times. It's an offer they can't refuse.
Here's a bit of... You pinch the loose skin on the back of your left hand with your right thumb and index finger.
Here's what you do. You make a level circle with your thumb and index finger. That's what they want.
Good decision. The Shoshone accepts your money and agrees to be your guide.
Money is the one thing most folks understand in any language.
Humboldt Wells, the most famous springs on the California Emigrant Trail. Dry lake bed. A flash flood in this dry lake wipes out a month's work. Warning! There are no lakes or streams ahead, so plan carefully. You'll need water. The Dream Team's been out looking for places with water.
Track laying in the desert is good in some ways, bad in others. The land's flat, so there's no blasting to do. But water for the men and steam engines is hard to come by.
I've scouted from here to the Great Salt Lake, and I saw 3 beautiful little oases that we can hit along the way.
I'm telling you, the only water in these parts is what you see on the map.
I saw a place out there where the water was just shimmering in the sand.
Watch now. Here's the place where Tomahawk has seen water. Dry lake bed. Dry lake. Your Shoshone guide points to the camp and draws arrows going in opposite directions.
Here are some pictograms I've seen the tribes use.
The Shoshone meant war. But because you didn't build here, your guide says they will trade with you. Make them an offer.
Here are some pictograms I've seen the tribes use. Some of them are thousands of years old.
Draw an X on the ground, and that'll show them we mean business.
We draw some flowers on the ground. That's the sign for something that'll make this situation better.
You draw a square without the bottom line, and that'll get us where we want to go.
The Shoshone accept your horses. You build peacefully through the region, and it only cost you $10,000.
A few good horses buys more than a heap of gold.
Terrace. Terrace is the biggest little city between here and Promontory. You stock up on water and save $100,000. The town of nearly 1,000 people has got a roundhouse, a machine shop, and all sorts of businesses. It also has plenty of water.
Plans are brewing in Terrace for an 8-track switchyard, along with hotels, a saloon justice of the peace, and a library bathhouse. Just think, you'll be able to get a drink when you're in the courthouse and take a bath while you're in the library.
Your Shoshone guide draws the sign for lightning, then a vertical line, a dot, and a sun. What are you going to do? I don't like the sound of that.
Here are some pictograms I've seen the tribes use. Some of them are thousands of years old.
What's that guide going on about? So there was a storm in this area yesterday.
Lightning? With all these metal rails around, that could be dangerous. Let's find a low place and wait for the storm to pass.
I say we get another day of work in. Little bit of wet never hurt no one.
The next day, a storm hits and lightning strikes your workers. Between the injuries and the men running off,
Well, I guess the rain didn't hurt nobody.
Nice building! Good! Start Elko to Promontory. You'll meet a Shoshone scout who knows no English. Do you want to hire him? He can help us through this region. You signed to the guide that you did not want to hire him as a... Nice going!
Building.
Start building from Elko to Promontory. You'll meet a Shoshone. You signed to the guide that you wanted to hire him as a scout. What do you offer him? Sarah has a Shoshone phrase book if you need. The Shoshone agree to become your trading partners. Good decision. Humboldt Wells. Dry lake bed. A flash flood in this dry lake wipes out a month's work. Dry lake bed. Pilot Peak. Pilot Peak is the last place to stock up on water for 90 miles. You need 800 gallons of water per mile. How much does that come out to anyway? Kit Carson, who was a famous expedition guide, found springs at the bottom of this mountain.
Now let's see. 90 miles and 800 gallons of water per mile. By my figuring, that's 72,000 gallons of water.
Pilot Peak.
Well, you carry the 7 plus the... Okay, 90 miles at 800 gallons per mile is 720,000 gallons.
My maths are rusty, but I reckon 90 miles at 800 gallons per mile is just about 7,200 gallons.
Good choice. You brought just enough water for your men. That water will come in handy in that desert.
I had a dream once that one day there'll be a machine that can do math even faster than I can. No, that's impossible.
Warning! There are no lakes or streams ahead, so plan carefully. You'll need water. The Dream Team's been out. Good choice. Wild Bill and Tomahawk were seeing mirages. Company bonus for not wasting time? $25,000. Your Shoshone guide points to the camp and draws arrows going in opposite directions. What are you going to do? The Shoshone also makes the sign for fast fire, which means train. The Shoshone meant war. But because you didn't build here, your guide says they will trade with you. Make them an offer. Maybe the Shoshone accept your horses. You build peacefully through the region, and it only costs you $10,000.
A few good horses buys more than a heap of gold.
Terrace. Terrace is the biggest little city between here and Promontory. Your Shoshone guide draws the sign for lightning. Then, the next day a storm hits, but your workers are safe. Company bonus, $50,000.
In a lightning storm, it's best to keep low and stay away from metal.
High winds across the salt flats destroy your worker camps. These salt flats have high winds and no water, except in the winter.
I tasted a bit of that white rock, and it's salt, all right. Tons and tons of salt.
There's not so much as a big rock in the way for miles across these flats. I don't like the sound of those winds, though.
Big storms. Promontory, Utah. Make it to Promontory and you've won the race. A promontory like this one is a big piece of land overlooking or projecting into a lowland. This promontory is 10 miles long, 1,500 feet high, and terribly windy.
Here it is, our final destination.
The Great Salt Lake. Great Salt Lake has no fish in it, and it has a smooth, calm surface most of the time. The water in the Great Salt Lake is 6.5 times more dense than ocean water. That means you can't sink in it no matter how hard you try.
The early settlers said there was a whirlpool in the middle of the lake that trapped boaters. They say it ain't true, but I'm still not going swimming.
Some folks say a terrible monster with a huge head sometimes crawls out of the lake and gives a big old roar. Personally, I think some folks like to make up stories.
Heard a bunch of folks talking about some whales in the lake that swim to the Pacific Ocean in an underground tunnel. That's the biggest load of foo-for-ah I ever heard.
Promontory, Utah. Congratulations! You've made it all the way to the end.
Don't you need a license to be this smart?
The company! The switchman works the switch in the railroad yard, switching trains from one track to another. Another suspect has been spotted back near Wadsworth. We need to question him if we want to identify the man. Question him, and we're done. Geronimo is somewhere in this Native American village. Your mission is to find him and bring him in for questioning. Don't treat him harshly, though. I don't think he's sabotaging our railroad. But he may have information that will help us solve the mystery of the Golden Spike.
The chief. He says Geronimo is hiding in one of the teepees. Talk to the Braves in front of the teepees and they'll let you know where he is. Beware, the Braves with the feathers on their backs are from a secret warrior society. They speak backwards and always say the opposite of what they mean. He's south of here. Go east. He says go west. Go east. We picked the wrong hiding place. Geronimo ain't... I'll snip. Geronimo, come out of there. He ran to another teepee. Let's find him. He's south of here. Go east. He says go west. Go north. He says Geronimo's in here. Geronimo, come out of there. All right, Geronimo. You may be innocent, but we're taking you in.
Don't you need a license to be this smart?
Steam-powered interrogator all fired up. Who? A polite question, huh? I've heard that the Apaches are an honest people. So honestly, who's trying to destroy the railroad?
I have heard that his heart and his head are big with pride for his land.
True. I'll mark it in the journal. Where? A polite question, huh? Mr. Geronimo, let's make this easy on ourselves. Where does the mastermind live?
Many say he lives in the state between the Mississippi River and Alabama.
Dodgy. I hate those. I'll record it anyway. What? Polite. Let's keep things simple. What does the mastermind look? What does the mastermind look? What does the mastermind look like?
His heart is as dark as the clothes he wears, like some white men.
Dodgy. I'll put that in the journal anyway. How? Let's see if being polite works. Mr. Geronimo, I'd be grateful if you'd tell me how the mastermind makes a living.
I have never had words with this man, but Belle Starr says he speaks with a southern accent.
Dodgy. I'll put that in the journal anyway. The suspects. They're innocent and Jefferson Davis. Compare the clues on this list to the who information on this mastermind. Compare them to the what information on this mastermind. If they all add up, put a check mark in the blank box. Compare the where clues to the where information. Check the box if the clues apply. You may not need all the clues to tell whether or not this is the mastermind. I'm fired up. The suspects. They're Cornelius Vanderbilt. Where clues? The suspects. Andrew Carnegie. I wonder who J.P. Morgan. The Grenville Dodge. So, Oaks Ames. I wonder Jefferson Davis. Where clues? How clues? What clues? Who clues. Guilty. You did it. Jefferson Davis is the mastermind.
Mastermind! Surrender that golden spike!
The golden spike mystery is solved.
We got him! The golden spike! Victory is ours!
Jack, we did it!
All ready now. It's time to drive the final spike. The telegraph signal sent round the world will be 3 dots for the commencement of the blows. 1, 2, 3. The Golden Spike Ceremony. The country is united. We're right on track for future glory.
Engineering.
We'll be starting in Pine Bluffs. You get an urgent tell. Good to see. Trapper's cabin. Good idea. The Laramie Mountains are made up of granite. They can be steep and difficult to cross. These mountains are too steep for a cutter. The Laramie Mountains.
With all this blasting, I can't hear myself think. And I think pretty loud.
Cave-in. A tunnel cave-in ruins 3 weeks of work. Luckily, no one is injured. Laramie, Wyoming. By the time the first passenger train arrived in Laramie, the city already had 23 saloons, 1 hotel, and no churches. Business is booming. You collect $100,000. That's what we get for building near a trading post and a fort.
Some say this area is ripe for mining. Nobody's found gold or silver, but you never know, and I got a good feeling about these mountains.
They're thinking of opening a prison in Laramie to keep the outlaws off the streets. I say they just put bars on the windows of the saloon on a Saturday night and call that the jail.
The main surveyor for the railroad, General Grenville Dodge, is the one who named Laramie after Jacques Laramie. Jacques is an old friend of mine and a darn good fur trapper.
In the 1820s, a trapper named Jacques Laramie built his cabin near the Laramie and Platte rivers. The fort and nearby mountains were named after him.
Fort Laramie is in this area. They built it to protect immigrants and settlers from Indian attacks.
The Laramie River is wide and shallow. The Laramie River is wide and shallow. Excellent choice. Mysterious cache. A large rock reads, Pour Henri Lefebvre. This cache is a landmark that may offer clues for safe passage through here.
What's this word, poor?
Mysterious cache. A large rock reads, Pour Henri Lefebvre. This cache is clearly a landmark of some kind.
You don't just leave a buried treasure in the ground, you dig it up.
Stop and...
Your tracks fall into a sinkhole nearby. Your workers later discovered that the cache contained a warning about the sinkhole. Pine Bluffs is an
Engineering.
We'll be starting at Pine Bluffs to Rome. You get an urgent telegram. Good decision. Trapper's cabin. Good idea. The Laramie Mountains. Great job. Only way for a train. Cave-in. Laramie, Wyoming. The Laramie, good bridge choice. Strong and not too expensive. Medicine Bow Mountains. These mountains are difficult to cross, but have valuable wood. The Arapaho and Cheyenne like to gather here for powwows. Looks like a good place for some tunnels. A powwow is a Native American traditional gathering. The whole tribe meets together to dance, sing, visit with each other, and celebrate. Medicine Bow Mountains.
At the powwow, the women of the tribe dance a special dance called a buckskin. It's a smooth, flowing dance done with fans and fine, handcrafted buckskin dresses with bead designs. I wish I had one of them dresses.
The powwow singing gets started by the head singer, who lets everyone know what song is coming. The drum comes in next, and then the singers. Last, the dancers start dancing. All I know is, it is something to see.
Medicine Bow Mountains. These mountains are difficult to cross. The granite here is trees. There are excellent trees for railroad ties and fuel. Do you want to cut them down?
The trees here are just about the best when it comes to making weapons. The Native Americans believe they're filled with good medicine or magic and will protect them in battle.
The Indians like these trees for a reason. It's just about the best wood I ever seen.
Not cutting down trees in this powwow area was a good decision. Medicine Bow. $100,000. That's a lot of money for a hole in the ground. The river is wide and shallow. The banks on both sides have high bluffs.
Depending on how high the water is, there are different islands in the North Platte River.
The river is wide. Excellent choice. Hungry bears raid your workers' food supplies. They snatch up meat and potatoes.
If you ever get caught by a bear, Tomahawk says to roll into a ball and cover your head with your hands.
These mountains are difficult to cross. $100,000. That's a lot of money for a hole in the ground. You find gold! The fur trapper's map was correct. A secret gold mine in the Sierra Madres earns you $300,000. Rollins, Wyoming. This outpost in Wyoming was named after General Rollins. It's 190 miles from Pine Bluffs. General Rollins led the soldiers that protected the railroad survey crew. One day when he was very ill, a soldier brought him a drink from a cool, fresh stream here. Rollins, the first settlers in Wyoming, came with the fur trade. More came along when folks started settling in the West. In 1868, the government made Wyoming a territory, with Cheyenne as the capital. Rollins, Wyoming. The locals are so happy to have the train here. There are celebrations for days at this outpost in Wyoming. Some people get a penny for their thoughts. I get a whole dollar. It's now 1868. Everybody this year is reading Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. Have you read it yet? Americans are a fashionable bunch these days, now that sewing machines let the ladies make their own clothes. Dinner is served. The first Pullman dining car, offering train passengers luxurious meals, just hit the tracks. This year, kids all over America are playing Milton Bradley's The Checkered Game of Life board game, risking things like jail and poverty for the chance at wealth and happiness. The first U.S. parade with floats rolled down the streets of Mobile, Alabama this year. Hey, world record! An Hawaiian surfed on the highest wave ever this year. It was a 50-foot tidal wave. It's now 1868. Everybody this year is reading Little Women. Just got word of a panic in Lexington. An outlaw is about to bomb one of our bridges. We need to get there before the mastermind has his way. The CP tracks are almost 6,000 feet above sea level at this point. That's the highest any railroad has ever had to build. Lucky us, we got to build across prairie. Know what I'm saying? Out of the mountains and into the desert. The CP has no luck at all. But listen to this. They've hired a whole lot of men from China to work on the railroad. The competition's heating up. We're there!
That sounded like a bomb. I hope the bridge is okay.
Lexington, Nebraska, August 28, 1868. An outlaw has bombed one of our key bridges. Your mission? Rebuild that bridge. Good luck.
It's the engineer! We need to repair the bridge. First things first, he says find a chain and pull the locomotive back from the cliff. It's the engineer! I'm supposed to find a chain and pull the locomotive back from the cliff. A worker! Says the chain's inside a box in the tent. But a worker says there's a telegram waiting in the telegraph box that'll tell us the combination. The telegraph! The telegram has the combination. Better figure out the Morse code and open that box up. Let's go! Worker tent! A locked box. The lock. A chain! Chain's in place. All I need to do is back this baby up and we're home free. Forward gear engaged. That puts the locomotive in neutral. Not into reverse we go. The throttle is now open. The train's safe. Now it's time to rebuild the bridge. Better ask the engineer what needs to get done. It's the engineer! He says get the tie layers. They're in charge of laying the wooden railroad ties. It's the cook. Says there's an apple inside this tent if I need it. Worker tent! Apples! Layers. They can't work until the horse moves their ties to the bridge. If only I had something a horse likes to eat, I could lure him over to the bridge. Get along now. That's a good boy. Now the tie layers can get to work. It's the engineer! He says get the spike drivers. They're in charge of spiking the rails. It's the spike drivers. They're out of spikes. Out of spikes. With a telegraph. The telegraph! Better type in the Morse code for spikes. Click on the dashes and dots to spell out the word letter by letter. Here comes the spikes. Spikes. Better hand them to the spike drivers. It's the spike drivers. There they go. Let's head back to the bridge and see how they're doing. It's the engineer! He says get the spike drivers. They're in charge of spiking the rails. It's the engineer! Look! They're fixing the bridge! Look! The bridge! It's fixed! The trains can run again! Yeehaw!
I'm the sharpest knife in the drawer. Back near Columbus, someone spotted not one outlaw, but two. John Wesley Hardin and Jesse James. Looks like we can capture two for the price of one. We'll get Hardin and James with a little help from the Dream Team. So, John Wesley Hardin and Jesse James are hiding out together in the train yard. Your mission? Catch Hardin and James before they do further harm to our railroad.
An engineer! This man's a hero. He discovered James and Hardin hiding out in one of the trains. You know what he did? He locked them in there. The train car we're looking for is northwest of the well. Train car! Think they're hiding in there? Remember, with rats, the door's locked. I'll need to find the combination. Where's that engineer? Why didn't he say so in the first place? The combination is A, B, and then an odd number. Outlaw, where you be? I'll sniff 'em out. Hardin, James, show your faces, now! All right, you two, your outlaw days are numbered.
Sometimes when a thought crosses my mind, it's after a long and lonely journey.
Let me at him. Who? Tough as nails. Answer my question, Hardin. And answer it now. Who's your boss?
If you want to see me sweat, come to one of my boss's birthday parties. It's always hot that time of year.
Look who's talking now.
Helium? I can't stand helium.
Better where? Tough as nails. I hope you like your nice cold cell, John Wesley Hardin. You're going to grow old in there if you don't tell me where your boss lives.
3 words. Kentucky. Now, let me out.
Dodgy. I'll put that in the journal anyway. What? A question that's tough as nails. Pay attention, Hardin. What does your boss look like?
I'll tell you this, and then I'm shutting up. He's got more whiskers on his face than a wildcat.
Dodgy. I'll put that in the journal anyway. How? A question that's tough as nails. Explain how your boss makes a living, or it will be more bread and water for a week.
Shows how much you know. I like bread and water.
Not talking, huh? This'll teach ya.
Helium Hardin, they'll call me. This ain't funny.
Let's how. Loco. How mean are you anyway, Hardin?
I'm meaner than a military man like my boss. And that's mighty mean.
Dodgy. I hate those. I'll record it anyway. 2. Polite. Mr. James, would you kindly tell me who your boss is?
Certainly. His birthday party was in a cold month. Cold as my blood.
Dodgy. I hate those. I'll record it anyway. This'll teach ya.
Helium! Turn off that helium!
All right. Let's see if that... Where? Let's see if being polite works. Mr. James, you can tell me where the mastermind lives, now can't you?
Well, it's only reasonable for me to tell you that he doesn't live near the coast.
False, huh? I'll make a record of it. Let's see who's full of hot air.
Helium?
Now you just stop that! Stop that, I say!
That'll teach him. What? Let's see if being polite works. You seem like a reasonable person, Jesse. Please tell me what your boss looks like.
Well, it's only reasonable for me to tell you that he doesn't look rich.
False. What a useful liar. I'll mark it in the journal. How? A polite question, huh? Interested in better grub, Mr. James? I can make that happen. Now, tell me, how does your boss earn a living?
Better grub? I'll go for that. My boss makes things. Don't ask me what.
True. I'll mark it in the journal. If you give an outlaw a penny for his thoughts, you get change back.
I'm the sharpest knife in the drawer. Nice going! We're almost there. All we have to do is build a promontory, and we won! Check out that lazy bones competition. Building. Good! Start building from Rollins. Building starts in this outpost in Wyoming on a hot August day in 1868. 350 grueling miles ahead.
In 1868, this area became the territory of Wyoming, with Cheyenne as its capital. It's been my favorite territory since 1869, when the Wyoming Territory government passed a law to let women vote. They must be doing something right.
Red Desert. Locals say these miles and miles of waterless high desert can be crossed. Nobody's ever done it with a train, though. Well, there's always a first time. The Red Desert is a cold temperature desert, also called a high desert. The land
Forms under starlight and endless skies. Oh, and it's nice and flat, too.
I've seen wild horses running across the desert in these parts.
Red Desert. The desert is a dangerous place. Rattlesnake bites sicken some of your workers. You lose $100,000 by continuing.
Rattlesnakes? From now on, I'm wearing 2 sets of boots.
Rattlesnakes, huh? They're good eating, you know. Tastes kind of like chicken.
Warning! There are no lakes or streams ahead, so plan carefully. The Dream Team's been out looking for places with water. Thing is, they all disagree about where to find it.
Track laying in the desert is good in some ways, bad in others. The land's flat, so there's no blasting to do, but water for the men and steam engines is hard to come by.
I've scouted out the Red Desert and I found clam shells in the sand. And everybody knows that where there's clam shells, there's water. I'll show you where.
I'm telling you, the only water in this desert is what you bring.
I saw a place out there where the water's just shimmering in the sand. I say we head to there. I'll show you.
Watch now. Here's the place where Wild Bill has seen clamshells. Your workers are sick of building in a desert and run off to work in the mines. No water. All you see are fossils of seashells. Backtracking costs you $100,000. Those clams have been dead for a long time.
I still think there was water. I think them clams just got sneaky and ran away when they saw us coming. Don't never trust a clam.
This desert was once an ancient inland sea. The shells are fossilized remains of sea life that lived here millions of years ago. Nice go!
Building.
Good! Start Rollins. Your workers are warning. There are no lakes. Watch now. Here's the place where Tomahawk has seen water. Red Desert. No water. It was only a mirage. A mirage is an optical illusion where a person sees a body of water or an object that isn't there. A mirage happens when the ground gets Nice go!
Building.
Rollins to Promise. It's tough going through the desert, but your water supply is holding out. Good work. Warning! There are no lakes or streams ahead, so plan carefully. The Dream Team's been good decision. Stock up on water here. There are 80 miles of desert, and you need 800 gallons of water per mile.
80 miles at 800 gallons of water per mile. That's 64,000 gallons of water. Not one drop more, not one drop less.
80 miles at 800 gallons per mile? Anybody can tell you that's 640,000 gallons.
If you're going 80 miles and you need 800 gallons per mile,
Burning rock. Some locals say this oil shale will burn if you set a match to it. Oil shale is a sedimentary rock that's greasy to the touch and produces oil when heated. Your workers are sick of building in a desert and run off to work in the mines. Burning rock. Some locals say this oil shale will burn if you set a match to it.
Lighting rocks on fire? I reckon there's better things to do with our time.
Let's give the workers a thrill. Any man who says he doesn't want to see that rock burn is a downright liar.
The blazing rock starts a fire that burns down the worker camp.
I know, it's a darn shame about the camp, but
Green River. The Green River runs very fast and has a sandy, good bridge choice. Strong and not too expensive. These famous hot springs may draw people to this area. Do you want to build a station here? If so, what kind?
I reckon we should get a depot and a siding for $45,000. The siding will let cars pass when passengers are getting on and off. It'll suit us fine.
You ain't gonna see tourists in this area for many a year. Why bother building a station when people aren't gonna use it?
I say do it right and spend $75,000 on a depot, siding, and a roundhouse. If people are gonna come, let's be ready for them.
A station really only needs a telegraph office, but most have some kind of station and sidings to allow trains to pass on by. A roundhouse is good in a train yard when you need to turn trains around and shift direction.
You're in luck. The roundhouse is too much for the hot springs, but gold is discovered nearby. Collect $300,000. Evanston, Wyoming. Supply station here. You stock up on water and save $100,000 in the long run. With nearly 650 residents, Evanston's getting to be quite a town.
Harvey Booth. Now there's a great humanitarian. He started up a saloon in these parts and made gambling possible for folks like us. There were nothing to do around here at night before Harvey Booth.
Grassland. Wild horses and antelope roam freely in these parts. What do you want to do?
These wild horses are descendants of the horses originally introduced into this area by Spanish explorers.
Let's catch us some horses. Ain't every day you see free horses just there for the taking.
Hunting a few antelope will mean meat for the workers, and it'll save us a nice pile of greenbacks.
We're too close to Promontory to get sidetracked now.
Sparks from your locomotives start fires that destroy train tracks.
I told him 100 times, you don't hunt more than you need.
Wasatch Mountains. You finally hit the dreaded Rocky Mountains.
Wasatch in the Ute language means mountain pass or low pass over high range.
Tunneling is tough, but it's the only way through here. Wasatch Mountains. Great job! In mountains this tall, a tunnel's the only way to go. Avalanche! Blasting tunnels causes an avalanche. No. Nice building. Good. Start Rollins. Red Desert. The desert. Warning. They're good decision. Good choice. Your workers are burning rock. Some locals probably not a good idea to play with fire in these parts. It's dry. Green River. The Green River runs good bridge choice. Strong and not too expensive. These famous hot springs, you're in luck. Evanston, Wyoming. Evanston, Wyoming. The town was named for the railroad surveyor, James A. Evans. Grassland. Wild horses and antelope roam freely in these. After much struggle, you capture a good many wild horses. Do you want to keep them for hauling wagons or trade them to the Utes?
These wild...
Let's use them. We can always use more horses.
Trade with the Utes. These are wild horses. They won't go to work hauling rails without a fight.
Good decision. The nearby Ute tribe needs horses and pays handsomely for them. You collect $10,000. Green River. Coal fields. There's coal all over the place here and very little wood. You might want to convert your trains to burn coal.
I looked all around this area, and take it from me, there's not a tree worth a dang for miles.
Some of the workers are spying the coal with real interest. If we could convert our locomotive engines to coal fuel, they'd run longer and faster. Here's a picture of a coal mine. Here, the men are loading coal into what they call strip pits.
Mysterious 1,000-mile tree. Surveyors tell you that this tree marks exactly 1,000 miles from Omaha. Building here may just cheer up our tired workers. After all, they've built 1,000 miles of track. Nice building. Good. Start building from Rollins, Wyoming. Rollins, it's tough going. Warning. Good choice. Hauling water and supplies through this Mysterious stones. Locals have found strange stones here with sparkling colors.
Round here, there's a bunch of yellow rock. A lot of times it comes in crystals. Might look like gold, but it ain't.
That doesn't sound like fool's gold to me. Sounds like opals.
Good decision. The stones are gems called opals. Mining here earns you a profit of $100,000.
Now, don't go thinking the wrong thing. Just because I can tell an opal.
You capture a good many wild horses. Good decision. Evanston, Wyoming. Wasatch Mountains. Another tunnel, another $100,000. Oh man. 1,000-mile tree. This tree marks exactly 1,000 miles from Omaha. You receive a company bonus of $100,000. The celebration continued all night long, and our workers are cheered up and happy to continue. Promontory, Utah. Congratulations! You've made it all the way to the end. Don't go wrinkling your spine about it. It's now 1869. A hotel in Boston just became the first ever to have indoor plumbing. What's a root beer? Sounds healthy. 1869. Ulysses Grant was inaugurated as U.S. President this year. The waffle iron was invented this year. Look out! People this year are starting to talk about creating reform schools for bad kids. Sarah? Another suspect has been spotted back near North Platte. We need to question him if we want to identify the mastermind. They laid 6 miles of track in one day near Winnemucca. That's pretty amazing. I smell real competition here. CP workers were lured by the mines. Must be hard to keep them working on the railroad when silver lies so near. Question him, and we're done. Geronimo is somewhere in this Native American village. Your mission is to find him and bring him in for questioning. Don't treat him harshly, though. I don't think he's sabotaging our railroad. But he may have information that will help us solve the mystery of the Golden Spike.
The chief! He says Geronimo is hiding in one of the teepees. Talk to the Braves in front of the teepees, and they'll let you know where he is. Beware, the Braves with the feathers on their backs are from a secret warrior society. They speak backwards and always say the opposite of what they mean. He says go west. Go north. He says go west. Go east. He says Geronimo's not in here. Outlaw!
Geronimo! Come out of there!
He ran to another teepee. Let's find him. He says go west. Go north. He says go west. Go north. He says Geronimo's in. Outlaw, where?
Geronimo! Come out of there! All right, Geronimo.
You may be innocent, but we're taking you in.
Outlaws are just cowards with water for blood.
Outlaw interrogation 2. Let's see if being polite works. I've heard that the Apaches are an honest people. So honestly, who's trying to destroy the railroad?
I have heard him described as the youngest branch on his family tree.
Dodgy. I hate those. I'll record it anyway. Where? Let's see if being polite works. Mr. Geronimo, let's make this easy on ourselves. Where does the mastermind live?
There is nothing easier than the truth. He lives nowhere near the sea. At least that is what Belle Starr told me.
False, huh? I'll make a record of it. Let's see who's full of hot air.
You think this is funny? Do I amuse you?
Oh, what? A polite question, huh? Let's keep things simple. What does the mastermind look like?
Simply put, he is either large or small. It all depends on your perspective.
It's true. I'll put it in the journal. How? A polite question, huh? Mr. Geronimo, I'd be grateful if you'd tell me how the mastermind makes a living.
Like others from the East, it's gold he seeks, or so I have heard.
A dodgy clue. Useless. The suspects. They're innocent until proven guilt. Jefferson date. Who clues? Welcome back. I wonder who did it. Jefferson, compare them to the what information on this mastermind. If they all add up, put a check mark in the blank box. Compare the where clues to the where information. Check the box if you may not need all the clues to tell whether or not this is the master. The suspect. Andrew Carnegie. I wonder Cornelius Vanderbilt. So, So, J.P. Morgan. Compare them to the what information on this mastermind. If they all add up, put a check mark in the blank box. Who clues? What clues? Compare the where clues to the where information. Check the box if the clues apply. So which one's Oak's Ames? Who clues? What clues? Where clues? You may not need all the clues to tell whether or not this is the mastermind. Guilty. You did it! Oak's Ames is the mastermind.
Mastermind! Surrender that golden spike!
The golden spike mystery is solved!
We got him! The golden spike! Victory is ours!
Jack, we did it!
All ready now. It's time to drive the final spike. The telegraph signal sent round the world will be 3 dots for the commencement of the blows. 1, 2, 3. The Golden Spike Ceremony. The country is united. We're right on track for future glory. We need to decide.